Thank you for joining us today. We're kicking off the second in a series of Insightly product webinars with a focus today on workflow automation. We're going to show you the advantages of using Insightly's automation tools to streamline your business processes, execute routine tasks at scale, and boost productivity. We'll also showcase examples of real-world automations that have helped customers and helped Insightly. I'm Melinda Prescher, Insightly's Senior Product Marketing Manager. I've got Jennifer Nietz with us today to tell us more about how her company, COACT Associates, is using workflow automation to streamline their business process. I've also got Andrea Lodigiani with me. She's a Senior Manager of Customer Engagement at Insightly, and she's going to share a few of the ways that Insightly uses workflow automation to streamline and simplify the way we work at Insightly. So Jennifer, I'd like to start out by inviting you to introduce yourself to the audience.
Hey guys, thanks for having me. My name's Jennifer Nietz and I'm the Vice President here at COACT Associates. I've been in the role of Vice President for 3 years now. However, I'm in my 12th year as an associate here. I actually started on the inside sales floor and have worked my way up through roles in process and performance, and currently doing a lot of work in Insightly. So I'm happy to be here today.
Great to have you. Andrea, why don't you go ahead and also introduce yourself to the audience?
Sure. So hi, everybody. I've been in Insightly for a little bit over 3 years, and a huge focus of my job is enabling customers on the Insightly CRM and marketing apps so that they can hit full adoption and get the most out of our unified platform. So a little bit later, I'll be showing you a few ways that you can use workflow automation to streamline processes, communicate across teams, and empower your users to focus on what matters.
Excellent. So let's dive into the agenda. We're going to start with the business challenges that we hear most from customers as they work to solve their business process goals. Then I'll spend some time talking about how Insightly solves those challenges and walk you through a few tips for building great workflows. And then I'll interview Jennifer so you can see how COACT leverages automation. And finally, Andrea will walk you through a hands-on demo. We have an Insightly team member, Courtney, online answering questions through the Q&A if anything comes in. I expect us to take it the full 30 minutes for this presentation. So if your question doesn't get answered during the time, we will definitely get back to you after this session, and we'll get back to you just as soon as possible. Let's start drilling down into the challenges that people see with that bring up a need for automation. The first is the problem of human error. Even in small teams, balls can be dropped simply when colleagues need to share information across teams quickly or nudge the next person in a process. Without workflow automation, it's entirely probable that at least at some point in a complex environment, a message will be late or be forgotten or not delivered at the right time. In marketing, we talk a lot about the need for timely, relevant communication, and workflows are at the heart of why automation is so powerful, because this helps your team execute while reducing the risk of errors. The next is inability to scale. Workflow automation can make it easy to send out hundreds, if not thousands of notifications at any time of day or night. This is the type of communication that you want to set and forget and let the power of the Insightly app handle for you. And finally, automation solves the perennial challenge that most teams are faced with in this new world of multiple apps and matrix teams. How do we reduce time spent on high effort, low value tasks? Workflow automation can help you streamline and actually elevate your efforts as a team. So what exactly is it? It's a process that allows you to send notifications, create tasks and triggers, update fields and objects, and fire webhooks and lambdas using the data that you already have in Insightly, and do it quickly and easily at scale. This takes the manual work out of a process to avoid mistakes. It can provide updates almost instantly and prevents important steps in a workflow from being bypassed or missed by someone who has a really important role to play. It delivers scale, flexibility, and the ability to customize messages based on your data. And ultimately, workflow automation can drive improved adoption of Insightly because your team doesn't have to wade through repetitive manual processes. Think about workflows as if-then statements that you build right into Insightly. You set up workflows, which are the process, using 3 specific elements: criteria, triggers, and actions. Let's look at a specific example on this slide, and then Andrea is also going to be doing a demo for you later in the presentation, like we mentioned, so you can kind of see how this works in action. In this example, what you want to do here is you want to notify the appropriate account team members, both inside and outside your company, about successful deals that you've won that have hit a $50,000 threshold. You decide that you want to send a glowing success email to your sales leadership as soon as deals at this threshold are won. You also want to formally kick off the relationship with the primary customer contact. And in this case, you want to do it a week after close so that you can give your internal teams time to group, share information, and create a plan. So you set the strategy, that's the process, and then you name the process. In this case, you're going to call it Opportunity Closed Won 50,000 plus. Your next step is to identify the criteria in Insightly that will be the inputs to defining this process. In this example, your criteria are record type, which is opportunity, and the evaluation criteria are current state is closed won, and the bid amount is greater than or equal to $50,000. The final steps in the process are setting up actions and a trigger or a time trigger. You can set up an immediate trigger, or like I said, wait a week or so, whatever you determine, to send a notification. The action in each of these cases is an email notification, but obviously the content of the 2 emails is going to be different, since one email is to sales leadership and the other email is going to your new customer. The email in the first case that will be sent to the sales VP is going to be an immediate trigger. The email is going to go out as soon as the opportunity is closed won. In the second case, you'll send a welcome email to the primary contact at the customer with a time trigger 5 days after the opportunity was closed won to give your team time to group and prepare. All the actions triggered by workflows will be added to a queue, creating a log showing that your workflows are firing or going to fire, so you can ensure that the processes are handled successfully by Insightly. As long as you're capturing data in Insightly, there really is almost no limit to the use cases that this can apply to. The main things for you to consider are, where can I achieve scale? What's going to take the pressure off time-constrained teams? And what's going to help us reduce errors and improve our velocity? We've included categories of notifications on this slide, but I wanted to get a little bit more granular and spark some ideas for you about the types of things that you can do with workflow automation. So some of those examples might be, when a lead is created, you can let a sales rep know with an email that they should do a first follow-up. You can send a thank you email to someone who fills out a form on your website and then let them know that someone will get back to them, or send them a notification that they've registered for an event. If a lead is stuck in a stage for a time period that you think is too long, an email notification will fire to alert the team to take action. You can apply the appropriate pipeline to a new opportunity. You can email a manager for an approval. You can email accounting to process a new invoice. You can email account management to assign an account manager. You can add a task for follow-up to a Google or Outlook calendar. You can create a management alert for any opportunity over a $1 threshold and send another alert when it closes. You can let a salesperson know when to schedule a demo. You can create an onboarding process with multiple steps of meetings, tasks, departments, and reports. And you can fire Lambdas to send product samples out via a third-party application like Shopify. Again, the possibilities are almost endless. And the point is really that if you have the data in Insightly, you can create a workflow to support it. We also wanted to share some tips for creating really solid workflows. So again, it's just so important to plan before you build. Map out your full processes before you start entering anything into the workflow. Plan and then build. You want to also test your methodology cross-functionally with input from sales, CSM, support. Get insights from other teams interacting with your customers to see how they might benefit from the process. Make sure your data is clean and up to date. Jennifer will have some additional commentary to share about this later in the interview, but just clean data is absolutely crucial to this process. Choose logical, strong naming conventions. Once you have a long list of workflows, it can really quickly become confusing or difficult to find a workflow and update it. Figure out a consistent naming convention methodology and stick to it. And set a specific date to kick off a workflow so that records that aren't relevant aren't affected by that workflow. For example, you don't want to accidentally send an email to a customer about an opportunity that closed last quarter. You only want the workflow to fire on future opportunities that close. So I'm going to transition now to our conversation with Jennifer. So Jennifer, I'd like to invite you to tell us a little bit more about you and COACT.
Absolutely. COACT is a full service business growth agency. We work with clients across the country to help them strategically grow their business and really to help them improve both sales and marketing operations and processes. We implement what I would consider the best in class tools and resources really to help our clients think differently about business growth. For instance, we meet with our clients, understand their growth challenges. We put together a campaign that it features research targeted list. And then our team implements that list into the Insightly CRM. We strategically work that list as well as pair that with a full service marketing team in-house. And so our teams are really responsible for prospecting, pre-qualifying, and positioning new business opportunities. So we find the CRM is kind of our go-to resource. It's what our teams are in every day. We are using the CRM as a way to communicate with our clients, show them reporting, and that's why it's so important that we had found a partner like Insightly so we can communicate the data.
Fantastic. And that kind of leads into my next question. How did you hear about Insightly?
Yes, we found Insightly online, actually. After several searches on CRMs, I use a third-party resource, G2 Crowd, and Insightly was very highly rated. We implemented actually this time last year, so January 2020. We were a 15-year Salesforce client, even back before I joined COACT, and got to the point where, quite frankly, we were just really unhappy with the level of customer service. While we work globally, we are a relatively small business, and we were really looking for a partner, not just a tool. And we found that with Insightly. As soon as we met, we worked with Ben in the sales process. We felt that he was truly understanding the uniqueness of our business and the fact that we work on multiple campaigns, and really was able to communicate that Insightly would be a great resource and tool to work with. And so just the next level customer service and attention we get really drove us to engaging with Insightly.
Fantastic. So let's dive in right now. I'd love to have you share with the audience examples of the ways that your team is using workflow automation.
Yeah, absolutely. So only being a year in, we are just scratching the surface of this. I actually wrote down some tips that you gave on another idea I had. But right now we are using workflow automation mostly in the area of opportunities and opportunity pipeline. Because we work on a variety of client campaigns, and really our differentiator here at COACT is quality opportunities, not just leads. It was very necessary for our opportunities to go through an approval process by the the manager. I actually approve all opportunities my reps have for our clients. So we have set up a workflow that allows our reps to simply click a checkbox on the opportunity page when they're filling out the opportunity, and that will trigger a notification and email to myself. It also logs a task for me in Insightly, and all I have to do is go in. I can do it online or even on my phone on the Insightly app. I'm able to check through all the fields to make sure that they meet quality standards and that it is a true qualified opportunity. And I simply, from there, have to click a checkbox. That notifies the rep that the opportunity is approved. They do get credit on that for their bonus and metrics. And that actually then triggers a notification to my entire team telling everybody that an opportunity was created. We like to celebrate, as Melinda said, celebrate the wins. And so we have a couple selected fields. We pull out off the opportunity and notify the team that an opportunity has been created. Furthermore, every step of an opportunity, we have created a set of tasks that trigger the reps to follow up depending on the stage of the opportunity. So sometimes it might be follow up in 1 week with a phone call, making sure that they send a handwritten thank you card, and making sure that they appropriately communicate with our client and confirm any type of meeting. So we use tasks that get triggered based on different actions.
Great. How would you say workflow automation is really helping you drive business impact and business benefit?
Yeah, a couple different ways. One, hands down, better quality. And with that approval process, it was just necessary to ensure a quality data system, quality opportunities, and the fields that are filled out to the best of their ability, which also helps with the cleanliness of the data in the CRM. Also ensuring that the reps don't skip a step. It really makes them think about the process of getting an opportunity through the pipeline, especially those organizations that are working with outside sales reps. It's very easy to get that meeting, have the meeting, and then move on to the next. We found that making sure we have those steps ensures that all opportunities are moving through the funnel at an appropriate pace and nothing slips through the cracks. Finally, the third way, saving time in the approval process. Um, this one I kind of have to laugh about. It takes me 3 clicks now to approve an opportunity. So just this time savings alone, and the quick notification, and our reps not having to sit and wait for that information or hunt me down. So uh, uh, significant time savings.
Great. You mentioned that you feel like to some degree your team is just starting to scratch the surface of how you can use workflow automation to benefit your business. Have you thought at all about future plans for leveraging workflow automation?
Yeah, absolutely. The one area I'm consider us in phase 2.0 for our Insightly implementation. And just before the end of the year, we started to work on what we consider our quality fields. And we were having our reps manually check their quality every day. And we had a set of quality measures, addresses, making sure that the account had a website, phone number, making sure that they were advancing their contacts in the sales funnel if they had completed conversations. We actually took a look at all those manual processes and made them um, automatic now. So I kind of call it our quality validation. So we have it set so reps can't save their accounts if certain fields aren't filled in. So that's one area. The second area we're going to start to look at is queuing the sales process on the front end. So we're already there with the opportunities, but now taking a look at different fields and making sure that the reps are queued at the right time in a systematic way, so they can come in, get to work, and know that they're calling the best contacts first. That's just going to save a little bit more time when they come in and get to work in the day. So we're really looking forward to using those activity sets and triggering actions based on fields.
Great. Any last words of support or guidance or any other recommendations for the audience?
Yeah, we have worked with several clients that really struggle. We hear reps adopting the CRM. And a lot of times I hear that they assume that there is a problem with the CRM. They don't like their CRM, it's not efficient. And I often instruct them or tell them that really with the right type of support, the CRM can do what you want. It is possible. Um, there is an element of having to change the whole behavior of the organization. I recommend, and we did this when we went through the finding of Insightly, is get a small team together. I like to include my star reps as well as maybe some of my more challenging reps that are maybe hard to adopt new technology, put them together, have them form a little CRM team and process improvement committee. Really take a look and mapping out. Melinda said, map it out on the whiteboard first, run that by a group of people. And furthermore, you got to really align what you expect. We always say here that if it's not in the CRM, it didn't happen. And we have to stick by that. And so sometimes you have to make a mind shift from the top and kind of say, hey, it's not a meeting and it's not going to qualify if these items are in the CRM. So plan it out. Also, take a look at what you expect, and it is possible. Sometimes you may need to execute support with Insightly or maybe a software engineer internally, but it is possible.
Got it. I love it. If it's not in the CRM, it didn't happen. That is awesome. Thank you so much for that, Jennifer.
No problem.
It
Thank you.
really is great to have you here with us and explaining how things work for you and your team. So right now we'll move on to Andrea's demo. I am going to stop sharing right now and hand it over to Andrea to walk us through the demo.
All right, so I'm going to walk you guys through a few examples of some impactful workflows that you can create today that will save your team some time and energy, ensure no opportunities fall through the cracks, and reduce any potential bottlenecks created by cross-dimensional operations. So the first one that we're going to do is kind of a simple place to start, but it's an automated workflow that people really love because it saves their team a few steps when entering new opportunities into the CRM. So because Insightly allows you to have multiple pipelines for opportunities and projects, we don't actually automatically apply a pipeline to a new record when it's created, but you can use workflow automation to actually apply that pipeline. So it's one less thing that your team really has to do. So when you come into workflow automation, it's in your system settings here. We're going to create a new workflow. We're going to give this workflow a name. Again, kind of speaking to what Melinda was saying, you really do want a naming convention because at Insightly we have like 150 and it gets really hard to find them if you don't have a naming convention for team, as well as perhaps what the workflow is obviously going to be doing. I always like to give a description as well, and you choose the record type. So in this case, I'm going to do an opportunity. When an opportunity is created, I want to have a pipeline assigned to it. So in that case, I'm going to choose this evaluation criteria number 1. Again, when a workflow is created, have workflow fire, or excuse me, when an opportunity is created, have the workflow fire. Go ahead and press save. So now that we've created sort of the package for it, we're going to start adding our criteria, which is our trigger and the actions. So add criteria here. I'm just going to go ahead and apply my pipeline. So when you start adding your filter rows, in this case, we're going to do pipeline equals the opportunity pipeline. Again, you might have different types of pipelines. So, oh, you know what? I'm actually going to show you a little trick. So apply pipeline, if I want it to be on every opportunity that's created, I'm just going to leave this blank. So I have my criteria name. I'm going to leave my filter row blank, and I'm going to go ahead and press save. So you'll see here, always when an opportunity is created, now my action. We're going to click action here, and we're going to update this record. So again, we're applying our pipeline. I'm just going to go ahead and do apply pipeline again. The workflow action names, all of these things are just really back-end system information. It's not anything that shows to your users or anything like that. So it's really just meant to keep you organized as you're using and managing your different workflows. So this is when I'm going to update my record to apply my pipeline, which is my opportunity pipeline. And to make it work, you actually also have to apply the correct stage. So we have different stages of our pipeline. This is the default one that comes out of the box. I want it to start at stage 1. So I'm going to go ahead and press save. So if I read this back, our workflow is to apply a new pipeline to any new opportunity, always. And it's applying the pipeline at stage 1. So super simple. Now, anytime somebody creates it, the pipeline will be there. In our second example, we're going to build a workflow that actually sends a notification to a member of your team when an opportunity or project has sat in a pipeline stage for too long. So this will benefit sales teams that struggle with funnel visibility, accurate sales targets, things like that. So I'm going to go back to the beginning. You could also just click up there. So new workflow process. This one we're going to call sales time and stage notification. My description is going to be to send an email alert to the user responsible when an opportunity sits for too long. Again, this is based on opportunity records. I'm going to click opportunity. And I'm going to leave it on this third option, which is the most common. So this is just saying that Insightly is constantly going to be checking your records to see if it matches the criteria. As soon as it matches the criteria, it's going to fire the action and it's going to stop checking in the future, which means it's only going to fire once. Press save. All right, so now we add our criteria. So in this case, we're going to do stage equals proposal. I'm going to do pipeline equals opportunity pipeline, and the stage equals proposal. All right. So to make this work, we want this to fire 7 days after an opportunity has entered the proposal stage. That gives your team 7 days to let somebody think it over, but we don't want them to forget to follow up. Obviously, 7 days might be too many. You could always do a few less. So we're not going to do an immediate action because that would actually send the email immediately when something enters that stage. We're going to instead do a new time trigger. So when you do a new time trigger, you can go ahead and put in whatever time you want. You can see you have days and hours, before and after. And then you have your workflow criteria trigger date, which is when this workflow goes into action, or you do have your date fields available. So if you do have date fields on your ops, you can also trigger things off of those fields being updated. So now you'll see we created a new container down here. And so now we're going to go ahead and add our action here. So we're going to send an email. Email alert name. So we're going to do, what is it? Time and stage. You have to choose who the email is going to be sent from. So you do have sort of these dynamic people fields up here, or it's always good to have maybe like a generic account ID. So I'm going to use that one. And then you select the to. So I want to have it sent to my user responsible. That's the person who's responsible for closing out this opportunity, getting them to the win. And I actually already built my email template. So I can just plug my email template in here, makes life a little bit easier. You can do that in the email section of Insightly. And you'll see it populates the subject, and it also populates the email body. And these are dynamic tokens here. So you can see hello first name, or responsible user. In this case, let's pretend it's me. Hello, Andrea Ludigiani. Opportunity name has been in the proposal stage for 7 days. Follow up, provide update. And then another good practice is include the URL. So this is a record URL token. It's available here in the dropdown. So if you include the record URL, it's going to make it really easy for your team to simply click on that URL from the email. It'll take them to Insightly directly to the record that they have to update. So if I go ahead and press save, we've created our workflow. And if we read it back, it's just saying anytime an opportunity has entered the proposal stage, wait 7 days. And if no change has been made to that, go ahead and send an email to the sales rep. So something to keep in mind is if for whatever reason the stage were to change, they move out of proposal, this would no longer fire. This would no longer be relevant, or the criteria would no longer apply, and it would void out this action from taking place. So a very similar variation of this particular workflow could also be to automate sort of the review, approval, or handoff process. That could be used with our quotes feature, as well as opportunities or projects. So let's say, for example, a quote reaches the review status stage, or an opportunity or pipeline or project pipeline has reached the review stage, if you had something like that. You can automate the handoff by having an email sent to the appropriate parties to review the record at hand. So the only difference for that example and the one I just showed you is you would, in that case, use this immediate action and not the time-triggered action. So the next one we're going to look at is a little bit more sophisticated, only because it is working in conjunction with another sort of key feature that we offer, which is this web-to-lead form builder. For those of you who are not familiar with web-to-lead form builder, it's a way of connecting forms that you have on your website to Insightly CRM. So if somebody completes the form, they'll automatically be created as a lead in your system, and your team can take over from there. So assuming that we've already built this, that's a webinar for another day, but and you start having leads being generated in your CRM, we're going to create sort of a confirmation or thank you email that would automatically be sent to any new lead that's in your system. So I'm going to go ahead and new workflow process. So in this example, I have a contact us form on my website. It includes a few custom fields to find out what they're interested in, as well as finding out how many, let's say, employees or users they have at their company. So if it were on Insightly's website, it might say, what are you interested in? Insightly Marketing, Insightly CRM, or both. And then how many users are you interested in bringing onto our platform? So record type in this case is a lead, because again, we're building this off of our leads. And we could again do this once when the record is created option, because this is as soon as the lead is created, we want to have an email go back to them saying, we've received your information, someone will be in contact shortly. So we've created our container, now I can add my criteria. So this is lead source equals contact us form. Again, that's something that I've customized in my system. Lead sources are really important for keeping, obviously, your leads organized, finding out which channels are bringing in the most business. So if I come in here and find source, I have my web contact us page, something I've customized and also incorporated into my web to lead form. So it's automatically applied to any lead created from that form. And now my immediate action is going to be to send an email again. In this case, we're not sending an internal email, we're sending an external email. So let's see, lead thank you / confirmation, let's say. Again, you can have this sent from various people. You can have it sent from the person who's responsible for managing that lead. It could be a personalized email. In this case, I want to do just kind of a generic, someone will be in contact with you shortly email with the confirmation of the field values that they provided. So I'm going to do my generic. And then under 2, we'll see that lead email address has become available. And again, I have an email template here, so web to lead thank you. In my web to lead thank you, I've been able to incorporate in the lead first name, someone will be in contact shortly, and then confirming the information they provided on that form, including they're interested in value, so maybe they're interested in CRM. Number of employees would populate here as well if they provided that on the form. Thank you, Insightly team. Save. So reading it back, when a lead is created with the lead source from our contact us page, an immediate email will be sent to them, thanking them and sharing the confirmation of the information they provided. You could also add to this workflow by also creating a task for your team to reach out, or maybe a task to assign this lead if you're not using lead assignment rules. You could also send an email internally, all sorts of stuff. So that's all for sort of the hands-on examples that I wanted to show today. I did want to speak a little bit to a little bit more complex way that you can use Insightly, or workflow automation more specifically. So we do also offer the ability to easily connect Insightly to other platforms using the webhook and Lambda functions that are available under Actions. So webhooks export data from the CRM to other platforms. This could be used to sync customer data into systems like your billing or accounting systems, or if you're not using Insightly Marketing, perhaps another marketing or emailing platform. The Lambda function, on the other hand, is actually code written by a developer and uploaded into Insightly. And this code can be triggered via workflow automation and do things like cross-object updating. So if you have opportunity information that you want to have show up on the organization that's linked to it, that would be a Lambda. It can also create custom integrations with other platforms or perform more complex calculations. So both of these do require some coding knowledge. So if you don't have anybody in-house who can do that for you, you can always contract our professional services team, and they're available to build custom solutions for your business. So that's all for me. Melinda, back to you.
Okay, sounds great. Thank you so much for that. Opening it back up, and want to give people just a way to contact us. Our team would love to learn more about how we can help you reach more of your objectives through workflow automation. So absolutely don't hesitate to reach out and get in touch with us to kick off the conversation. Thank you so much for joining us today.